I don't think the tradies are finished, but they've also stopped cutting bricks, so we should be pretty good.
All right. Are they working on your house?
They're working on the driveway out the front of my house, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The bricks had started to come apart. Like the weight of the cars had just started pushing all the bricks into the garden.
Right. That's what happens when you get a brand new car.
That's right. Twice as heavy.
How's that been working out for you?
Yeah, the car's great. Yep. Doesn't rattle like the old one. It's actually surprisingly efficient. It's a diesel. And diesel here costs about the same amount as 95 premium petrol. So, yeah, it works about the same cost to keep it on the road. It's nice having a bit more space in the back. Drives nicely. Yeah, it's a car.
What did diesel cost for you 20 years ago compared to regular petrol? Has it always been on par?
I don't think it was. I think it was quite a lot more expensive than regular petrol. But I
Really?
could be guessing.
That was the opposite in the US. It used to be significantly cheaper, which is what you'd expect because diesel is just unrefined petrol. Like, it takes more steps to make petrol, and one of the steps of making petrol, you have diesel.
Really?
So I have no idea why diesel would cost more. Right.
I wonder if I can Google this and quickly find something. Historical diesel pump prices in Australia.
But now it costs more in the US. So I don't know what happened over the last 20 years that it's become more expensive.
Okay. Well, I found it. All right. So let's say 2002 is as far back as this chart goes. And in WA, unleaded petrol, which would be 91, was 90 cents a litre. And diesel, it's only got 2007 for diesel. So let's grab 2007 for petrol. $1.27 a litre compared to $1.35 a litre. So they're pretty close. And yeah, when you add like another 10 cents for the 95, which I had to put in my car, then you'd probably end up around 135. So yeah, talking 2007 prices, it's basically exactly the same as it is now. Yeah, that's roughly what they are now.
Let's see what I can do. Oh man, I picked the least intuitive looking website.
Look, you can't expect much when you're looking up historical fuel prices.
Okay, so I'm just going to pick a random number, but then I'm going to back out and choose regular gasoline as well. So diesel, I'll do my birth month, September 94. Diesel in September 94 was $1.12 per gallon.
That sounds cheap. Wait, how many gallons in a litre?
Great question.
What is it?
Okay, it's pretty close. I was just regular gasoline. Oh wait, I'm a year off.
3.79. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's $1.14. So it's pretty close to on par.
Wait, that's so cheap.
So maybe I'm crazy.
So basically, divide it by 3.8 to get the price per litre.
Yeah, what are you paying per liter for gas right now?
Roughly $1.30 per litre.
Okay, and we're paying just a little more than that. We're paying less than $2 per gallon.
Wow. You guys have a good... I thought we had a good, because when you go to, like, Europe, they're paying, like, crazy amounts.
Huh. That's surprising. I figure proximity to the Middle East would factor into gas prices, so you'd think Europe would do better.
Maybe. Let's see. Let's keep this riveting discussion going and look at petrol prices in Europe today. Okay, so they're paying 1.2 euros. Oh, actually, I forgot that we're talking about different dollars as well, by the way. So that factors
that's true.
Idiots.
This is why we're not the r/petrol podcast.
That's right. All right, Europe's paying $1.45 US per litre for diesel. So it's more than you.
Let's see.
A lot more, yeah. So that's heaps more than you're paying. Because you're paying a quarter that.
So in 1994, which was the prices I was quoting you, the US dollar was 76 Australian dollar, or 76 cents in Australia.
Okay.
Which means our gas was even cheaper. Right?
No. It means it's a little bit closer than we were expecting. So I'm paying roughly at $1 US per litre.
Okay. I'm coming into this podcast on a couple margaritas, so my math is not going to be great.
What's the reason for the celebration?
Just got to see an old friend.
Nice.
Yep.
Always a good reason.
Some time. And...
Around 8 weeks ago, I think it was, you pledged on the podcast to lose another 8 kilos. I might have those numbers mixed up. How's that been going for you?
Let me do some conversions so that I can say this in a language you'll understand. I am down 23 kilos total now.
Nice. That's
which is just over 50 pounds for US people listening.
So you've continued the trend since you brought it up those months ago.
Yes, I have been able to keep it up. And I've got just over 6 kilos left to go to hit my goal weight. So another 15 pounds.
Almost there. So close.
Oh, almost.
Well, I have to say, you sent me a photo the other week of your mask, and you looked extremely trim in that photo. So it's
thank you.
It's very apparent.
That's worth mentioning in itself. I got a great face mask it looks just like the Finder icon, and I'll find a link to it, and I'll send you a link probably after the show, so you can include it in the show notes for anyone who wants their own Finder face mask.
I would love one.
Okay, cool. I will say they run a little small. Like, it just barely fit on my face.
That could be a problem. I usually go for like the biggest mask possible.
Right. Like, I usually like mine to like go around my chin and underneath, and this one was like just covering the front of my face only. It didn't go under my chin at all. But it did look neat.
It looks really cool.
So there were other styles. Like, I got the one that was called like the fitted one that had a piece of metal that clamped on your nose. Mm-hmm. But there was more like traditional just sheet of fabric options as well that I think might have been a little bit bigger.
With the same Finder print on it.
Right.
Okay, cool. You took the photo into a mirror, didn't you? That's why the nose is pointing the wrong direction.
Right, yeah, I was sitting in front of a mirror.
Okay. Right, yeah, because I can see the phone, so yeah, I'm seeing the mirror. Cool. Crisis averted. This week has been the first week that we've had to wear masks leaving the house.
Oh, really? Are things getting worse over there?
Things are out of control. We have a single case of community transmission. So we've gone into hard lockdown from that one case. Is that
one case in Perth?
Yes. So one case in Perth.
Okay.
One of the security guards at one of the quarantine hotels caught the UK variant of the coronavirus. And then, of course, it took him a few days to realise, and he travelled around everywhere. So just to, we bit the bullet and we just said, all right, everyone stays home Monday to Friday this week. And if you leave the house, masks are mandatory. And so far, there have been no further detected cases. So I'm crossing my fingers that we're going to go back to normal soon. But that was the first case in 10 months of transmission, which is a pretty good record.
I'm so envious of your country's ability to respond to things like that. It's like we've had hundreds of thousands of people die, and it's just like, well, that's not enough of a reason to tell people they can't leave their home yet.
You had some questionable leadership at the start of the crisis, so I think the situation could be quite different for you in another reality.
I suppose we'll have to see what happens from here on out.
Yeah, but the chicken's already left the coop. Is that an expression? I don't know. Can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
There you go.
All right. I wanted to segue that into my AirPods story because it's a little bit of irony. So did I mention last show that Johannes knocked my AirPod into the toilet? My 2-month-old AirPod. Yeah, I did, didn't I? And it was unresurrectable. Mm-hmm. But I took it into the Apple store on Saturday, and lo and behold, they were the last holdout on forcing people to wear masks inside. And they also had the forehead temperature monitor, blah, blah, blah. No one else had done it for 10 months, but Apple was still doing it. But I arrive at the Apple store, and there was no temperature check. And then the very next day, the Premier of the state announced that we had our first case of community transmission. And what's even funnier is that it was in the building adjoining the Apple Store.
Oh, no.
They'd finally let their guard down, and probably less than 50 meters away in an adjoining building, there'd be in transmission of coronavirus.
They were Perth's last line of defense, and as soon as they relaxed...
You couldn't make it up.
So did you get new AirPods?
Yeah, so I pled the fifth. I didn't mention that it had been in water, and the Genius didn't seem to detect that. This is probably not very moral or ethical way of going about it, but he just replaced it for free. You know, I'd guess they don't have any sort of liquid check, or that he didn't check that, didn't think to check it. I don't know. Surely they've got a checklist to check if the thing has been underwater.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't even mention it, and I didn't mention it. Just kept my mouth shut and got a new AirPod for free.
That'd be hard to tell. Like, what if you just sweat a lot, you know?
That's true, yeah.
You could trigger a moisture sensor.
But wouldn't there be a moisture sensor like inside the bud part of it as well?
Maybe you sweat a whole lot.
So much. Maybe they should put a urine sensor inside.
Specifically tell if it's been in a toilet or a public swimming pool.
That's disgusting.
So I'm anxious to hear what you think of CarPlay now that you've had it for a couple of weeks.
Right. It's meeting expectations, I would say. It's exactly as I expected it to be. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. It's definitely got its quirks. Maybe it's just Ford's implementation of CarPlay, but yeah, it's quirky as hell. I would liken it...
What kind of quirks have you run into?
Well, I'm likening it to back in the day, like post-DVD player, pre-streaming services, and people had home theater PCs. So, Matt, did you ever have one of these, or are you too young for that?
I was aware of them, but I never had one.
Okay. Well, it filled a good gap, I guess, in whatever ecosystem that you were part of. But like, you'd have a computer plugged into your TV, and then to actually get to like the interface, you would boot the computer, and it would go into Windows or Mac, and then you'd launch whatever home theater software you're using, and then you'd have like this remote control from some completely different brand that wasn't related to any of the hardware or software you're using, usually Logitech, and like you'd program some buttons to control the computer, and some buttons would control the TV, and some buttons would control the audio, and inevitably there were quirks. And that's kind of what it feels like with CarPlay as well. Some examples are like you turn the car on and plug your phone in, and it just starts playing FM radio instead. And then you press one of the buttons on the steering wheel, say skip track, and then it like starts playing a podcast. It's like, well, I was kind of listening to the radio. So what are the buttons controlling CarPlay or the radio? I don't know. And vice versa. I've learned just to not use the buttons on the steering wheel when CarPlay's active now, because I could be listening to music through CarPlay, hit the skip button on the steering wheel, and it will like jump into FM radio and skip to the next preset. Just ridiculous behavior like that.
I haven't experienced that.
Like I said, could just be Ford's implementation of it all.
Well, I've got a Ford as well. Is that with CarPlay up on the screen? Because my experience has been the steering wheel control whatever you have on the screen. So if it's CarPlay, it'll control that. And if it's the radio, it's going to change the radio stations.
That's what you would expect. But it's pretty hit and miss.
Okay.
Your CarPlay, is this the car with the aftermarket head unit though?
No.
No.
This is Ford default implementation using Sync 3, which is their infotainment software.
Okay. I don't know what version of Sync I've got. And actually, I do remember saying it had an update, so maybe I should give that a crack and see if it fixes it.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, my car downloads updates whenever it's near my Wi-Fi.
I did turn that on, connected to the Wi-Fi, but I never went back to check if it actually updated. Okay. Good call. Worth a look. Other random bugs are like if there seems to be some quirk about which order you plug the phone in and then start the car. Sometimes it just is impossible to get music playing. I haven't really got down to the nitty-gritty of what does what yet, but I've just resorted to start the car and then plug the phone in, and not the other way around, just for the most reliable experience.
Right.
More on CarPlay itself, I was kind of hoping that Siri would be a lot better than it was in my last car, just because, I don't know, they knew CarPlay was going to be in there, and they would put good microphones in there, or Apple would mandate good microphones. Or I had higher expectations, but Siri is pretty much as bad as it was in my last car, which just had a Bluetooth connection to the phone.
Like she's unable to hear what you're saying?
For example, I would say, like, get directions to X, and it will just navigate somewhere completely different. Like, she's not cottoned on at all. So I don't know if that's actually the microphones or just Siri being terrible. It's probably Siri being terrible, because even sometimes I'll say get directions to X suburb, and it doesn't choose like this. No, if I say get directions to street in suburb, it doesn't choose a street that sounds like that street in the suburb. It doesn't choose a street in like the nearby area. It doesn't even choose my city. It doesn't choose my state. It'll find that street in like Illinois and be like, sorry, I can't get directions to King Street, Chicago. Oh, God. Siri's just so bad. And this used to be a problem on the iPhone as well, but it kind of went away, and I thought that wasn't a thing anymore, that it, like, the iPhone considers its home to be the United States, but the Maps implementation in CarPlay still seems to think it lives in the US, like, regardless of where it is in the world.
I rarely rely on Siri. I just type in my stuff on the CarPlay screen.
You can type, can you?
Your car has to be in park, but then you can.
Ah, cool. Can you also read message texts when your car's in park?
Okay. Let me restate that. I don't think you... Maybe you can type? I know you can dictate directions and scroll through a list of suggestions, but you can't do anything with your messages, no matter what like whether your car's in park or not. You can only read whatever's unread.
That surprised me. I was a little surprised when I found that you couldn't see message text anywhere. Like, what if someone sent you the address that you wanted to go to, and you wanted to tap on the smart link to jump into Maps? It's just not possible.
Oh yeah, Siri does some smart stuff. I wonder if she would pull that out and have it as a option for directions in the Maps app, though.
The only, like, it's got that little box with, like, navigate home or navigate to, like, the next location it thinks you're going to go. That has never changed from one location I saved on a holiday like 3 years ago. It always shows those two.
Even if you have, like, upcoming events with addresses in them?
I nearly always put addresses in upcoming events, but I don't know. Admittedly, I haven't driven a lot recently.
Right.
But it always seems to show this one old holiday location.
It's telling you want to go back.
Maybe it is. Telling me I need a holiday.
Huh. Okay. Well, it sounds like it's been giving you a bit more of a headache than mine has. It's too bad to hear.
It's also a lot better than having an iPhone on the dash, so don't get me wrong. I do really like having it there.
Right. Have you given the microphone test for just some phone calls?
I have made some phone calls. I haven't noted any real difference over the last car.
But no one's complained, at least.
No one's complained, no. I nearly always call on with FaceTime audio, and the audio quality through that is just really good already, so...
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Does your car have navigation built in?
Like, if I'm just in the Ford whatever, it's got a GPS map system, yeah?
It does?
Yeah.
Okay. That's extra nice, because apparently CarPlay, if your car already has a GPS built in and you're using Maps, it'll rely on your car's GPS so that it has more accurate location information, and so it's not putting an extra drain on your phone's battery.
I assumed it would be doing that for some reason. Maybe just because it always acquires the signal like so quickly.
Right. Well, it was a surprise to me.
Just having the phone sitting there charging is a nice plus.
Mm-hmm.
Although it is a small downside that you have to take the phone out of your pocket and plug it in to get it to work. Whereas previously I would sometimes just leave the phone in my pocket and it would hook up with Bluetooth and start playing and away you go.
Right. Yeah, it's become such a muscle memory for me. I've had to plug my phone in ever since I started driving. So my phone's already in my hand and on my pocket before I'm even sitting down.
Yeah, it's not too big a task, is it really?
Yeah.
Having Overcast and WhatsApp apps on CarPlay is pretty nice. They both work as expected.
Yeah, I haven't used many third-party apps. How have those been? Can you read your WhatsApp messages in text?
No, it works exactly the same as iMessage.
Okay.
But it works well, and you can use Siri to send a message.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that sums up my CarPlay thoughts, really.
Waiting on the next big update for CarPlay. I don't know what they can add, but it's been pretty much untouched since they rolled it out.
Oh, has it really?
In like iOS 10. I mean, I think the only thing they've really added was the just in iOS 14 they got the new home screen with the multiple windows. I don't even know what to call that. The gallery view,
where it shows like a map on the left and a music on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Prior to that, you can only ever see one app at a time, or just the home screen equivalent of just a bunch of app icons.
Okay.
So, did you receive replacement camera lens adapter?
I did. Yeah. So Moment sent me out the new plate that clicks into the phone case, which has the little bayonet which the lens pops into. And day one, I was extremely happy because the lens clicked really positively into the bayonet and there was no chance it would fall out. By day two, it was getting a bit looser and now it's basically as loose as before. So they've definitely got some manufacturing defects in the little bayonet plate system there. And annoyingly, I emailed them and said like, oh, it's the exact same situation as last time. Sorry, guys. And they emailed back and said, as if I'd never been in touch before about the issue, which is a little frustrating. And that's the state it's in right now because that was only yesterday that I sent them back a nice email to say, can you check out the context of this case before you email me, please?
Oh, man. Well, that's too bad.
Yeah. It's still a great case. I'm happy with the case by itself, but to spend like $150 and have just a case is it's too much money to spend. That's for sure.
Right. Huh. Okay. Well, hopefully, maybe you just got unlucky twice, and they'll send you a third one that ends up being perfect.
I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised. I'm almost sick of just messing around with it.
Is there some way you could like get a little piece of paper and wedge it in there to make the fit a little tighter?
You should see the size of this bayonet. It's just so small.
Yeah.
I could try it, but also, it's not like I leave the thing on my phone all the time. I'm constantly pulling it off and putting it on. So I can't imagine anything I do would be a good permanent solution for this.
You just got to pick your favorite lens and super glue it on and take the case off when you don't want to use it.
So you attach the lens to the case permanently. Yeah, okay. I'll think about it. Maybe after a few margaritas, I'll get the courage to do it. So tell me about your AppleCare Plus cancellation.
Yeah, so I got my new iPhone back in November. And so at the same time, I canceled my month-to-month AppleCare Plus on my 11 Pro. Or I thought I did until I got a bill at the end of January for my monthly AppleCare Plus. And I get so many of those between my watch and my phone and my iPad that I usually ignore the emails about getting another bill for AppleCare Plus. I just happened to click into it this time and read it and see it was for my 11 Pro still. And I looked back at the history and saw that I had still been billed AppleCare Plus for the last 3 months for my 11 Pro. And I went into my subscriptions and it said that AppleCare Plus was canceled. So I ended up having to call Apple, and I called them, and I guess this is a weird case because I got bounced around a lot. But I did eventually end up with someone after probably almost an hour on the line of talking to like their tier 1 tech support, which was like a call center in India or something. And then I got switched to the US, and then I got a person on there who was looking for like 15 minutes, and then I got switched to like a supervisor. And they were able to go in, and I don't know what was wrong because everyone else I talked to said, no, your subscription's canceled. You shouldn't have anything. And I had to send them a screenshot of my email to prove that I was getting billed. But the supervisor was able to cancel it allegedly. I'm still keeping an eye on my emails to make sure that's the case. But then I also got a 3-month refund on my Apple Care Plus, which was nice. I guess I probably should have expected that since I was paying for something that was canceled, but I was just happy not to get any more bills.
I would have expected the refund for sure. I'd have been very disappointed if they didn't offer that, especially since you cancelled it.
Right. So just a future warning for anyone who has month-to-month Apple Care Plus and tries to cancel it. It's worth reading your bills to make sure that it's actually canceled. Even if it shows up as canceled on your account, you might still be getting billed for some reason.
Well, I might find myself in that situation soon because I only had Apple Care on my phone because I didn't have a case on it. But now I've got a case on it. I might cancel the Apple Care.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Maybe I could treat this as a little experiment.
Let's see if they do it to you. Yeah, Apple Care covers like theft and loss as well, though.
Theft? No, I couldn't cover theft.
It specifically says theft and loss coverage.
What? Are you sure?
I'm positive. This is not two margaritas speaking.
All right. I'm on the Apple Care support page. Blah, 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 blah. One stop for support. Additional repair or replacement coverage. Accidental damage. Software support. How to buy. Let me do a Command F for theft.
I just sent it to you in the show Discord channel.
2 instances of theft or loss coverage every 12 months. Wow. What I'm thinking is that you just have a different level of Apple Care in the United States because there's absolutely nothing about theft here.
Interesting.
Yep.
I think I do have to pay more for the theft and loss coverage on top of regular Apple Care Plus. It's like another couple bucks a month.
I've never even seen that as an option on ours.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, it's not unusual for our Apple Care, our plans, whatever, to have minor differences between the two countries, is it?
Yeah. Does theft and loss, is that, I suppose that probably wouldn't be under your consumer protection laws?
Not theft and loss, no.
Okay.
Here's the explicit list. Apple certified service and support. I get that anyway. 24/7 priority tech support. Coverage for up to 2 accidental damage incidents every 12 months. And battery service coverage. That is the limit of liability. I don't think that's the right term, but that's what they're going to give us.
Huh. Okay. Well, with the amount of times that Johannes has broken your phone in the last couple of years, it might be worth keeping around.
Most incidents have been water related to non-waterproof phones, so
that's true.
Yeah, I think I'll be okay.
Okay.
Or maybe I should just create some sort of automatically closing toilet seat, because that's now one phone and one AirPod specifically water damaged in the toilet bowl.
And you need to start drinking your coffee with a lid, and you need to have a cover on the pool. And
wow, you've got a good memory. You remember all the incidents, don't you? Good morning.
Good morning.
An Apple Fitness Plus feature called Time to Walk. When I put this article in, it was launching soon, but we've since had the 14.4 and watchOS whatever, and so Time to Walk is here. And there's a lot of negativity on the subreddit about it, mostly the feeling that it's just, as Art of Snark says, that it's just a podcast with extra steps. Have you had a chance to give it a go yet? What are your feelings?
I haven't given it a go. I agree with that sentiment that Apple could have just started a new podcast called like Motivational Stories and put all these episodes there, and it would have been just as good. But when I go on walks, I've already got my podcast that I listen to, and as interesting as, like the life and history of Shawn Mendes is, I'd rather hear, what's new going on in the tech world or something like that.
Well, I had to give it a go, and
Okay.
so I did go on a walk and listen to Shawn Mendes. And yeah, it was a lovely talk, and he was also walking as he recorded, which
Really?
I just thought was a nice little thing on the side. He's not sitting in a studio recording it, but he was out walking, and sometimes you could hear the leaves crunching, and sometimes he had to stop talking to say hi to someone that walked past him. So I thought that was really cool.
So it's like you're going on a walk with Shawn Mendes.
Exactly. Yeah. Would I listen to it again? Probably only if I had no podcast to listen to. That'd be the only situation.
Right.
Like, I've listened to everything in my up next queue. There's nothing else. Well, I want to listen to something. Maybe a time to walk. And yeah, it was a good chat. I didn't even get the whole way through it, really. I listened to like 15 minutes, but even the topic he was talking about, which was just like just generally taking a break from technology and at points in your day. It was a little ironic because I was like had all the technology to listen to him as I was going on a walk, I thought, but hey, it was still a nice talk. But I thought the point that sorry, my nose is so stuffy because the city's just been covered in bushfire smoke for 2 days now. But the point that your underscore face makes in the comments, I thought was quite pertinent. They say that, hey, look, more people making fun of a well-placed decision because it doesn't suit their geeky sensibilities, blah, 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 blah. Most of the market has never used a podcast, wouldn't know where to start and what app to use. So to get those people into listening to spoken audio as they do their fitness thing, it's will probably work great, in their words. I think that's a fair point. A lot of people don't know what podcasts are, and yet they might subscribe to Fitness Plus and have an Apple Watch, and just to have this, intro to podcasts right there ready to go with like zero prior effort is, a nice feature, I think.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. UJ42 had a comment to that effect. Says, "Don't underestimate the effectiveness of serving up stuff on a silver platter," which I think goes well with that.
Right.
As easy as it would be for someone like you and me to find this in a podcast, it's even easier for less tech literate people just to have it served up automatically for them.
Although if you've got an Apple Watch and AirPods, you're probably fairly tech literate, so the niche is closing. It's becoming narrower and narrower.
That's true. They are trying to market the Apple Watch towards the less tech literate people, though, with the things like school time being, your kids can have an Apple Watch, or the idea of like fall detection targeted towards the elderly, where you would give your parents or grandparents an Apple Watch. That could be their only piece of technology they have. And so that could actually end up being helpful for those demographics especially.
And just being on your watch, like regardless of having a connection to cellular or Wi-Fi or whatever, it's synced there already. You don't have to do any prior effort. It's the silver platter.
Right. So the things I'd be most interested to listen to on Time to Walk are the things that would cost Apple the least. If they'd record a walk with Tim Cook and with Craig Federighi and Phil Schiller, those I would tune in immediately for those.
Tim Cook starts making product announcements on the Time to Walk. Once you get 45 minutes in, he just drops a mention of the AR features in the Apple car.
There you go.
Yeah, little Easter eggs.
Yeah, you've got to burn so many calories before you hear what the new product is.
Yeah. Heart rate must be above 120. And when he mentions it, it doesn't go even higher, well, he stops talking. So I also just stuck this article in here about Apple releasing iOS 14.4, even though we've got even more news about 14.5, because in 14.4 there was specifically something I was interested in hearing about, hopefully from you, is the feature that lets you point your U1 enabled phone at your U1 enabled HomePod Mini and have some sort of handoff feature that's better or different to what was already there, which I never had any issues with and couldn't even imagine how it would be improved, really. So did you have a chance to give it a go?
Yes, that was the very first thing I did. I installed 14.4 on my phone and on my HomePod and ran to my bathroom where my HomePod mini is.
To one of your 15 HomePod minis.
Not yet, still just the one.
Okay.
My initial impressions were very poor. I couldn't get handoff to work consistently for me at all. I would pull my phone close and away, and it wouldn't hand off, or it would just switch, and I wasn't getting the taptic vibrations I expected. However, after a couple days, I am getting the haptic feedback, but it wasn't quite what I was hoping. I don't know. I was hoping the magic of the U1 was gonna make it more real time and live updating, but it's more like just imagine how handoff works now, but your phone vibrates a bit more when you do it. There's the proximity aspect of it is lost unless you're deliberately trying to feel it and you're slowly moving your phone towards the HomePod. Then you can kind of feel the vibration ramp up. But if you're just walking up to it and tapping it, that motion's so quick already. It's just a buzz and then it's done. So you don't gain anything out of this feature.
So when the feature was announced, we were talking about like the clicks becoming, like the vibrations becoming stronger and stronger as you got closer to the HomePod. So it is actually doing that if you do it slow enough?
If you do it slow, you can tell, but if you're doing it at regular speed, it just feels like a buzz.
Okay. So really it's no different from how it worked before? It's just added a...
I mean, I would say that the vibration doesn't add anything to it. There's a different UI to it, where you get a little banner that pops up and expands into your HomePod controls, which is, I guess, nice if you switch it over. And usually my audio is not at the right volume level because I've gone from playing music to a podcast or something. I need to adjust the volume. So it's nice that pops up automatically. But it's more of a minor change than I was anticipating after it being hyped up for the last few months.
Yet again, the ultra-wideband chip disappoints. Can it do anything?
Man, AirTags better be the saving grace here.
Better be. Oh, we'll get to it soon, but there's some code in 14.5 that hints that U1 will be used to unlock your car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I actually kind of already thought that's how it worked with their car key feature.
Right, surely, yeah. Just back to the HomePod briefly, I did see some rumblings online about how the HomePod now steals the audio from the phone and vice versa a little bit more promiscuously. So have you had any problems with that? Just casually walking past a HomePod and it grabs it from you?
No, I've never had that issue. Even in my most extreme example, in my office, I've got a HomePod sitting on my desk, right next to my MagSafe stand. As a matter of fact, if I look, there's maybe a foot of distance between my HomePod and my stand that I snap my phone to, and I've never had them steal audio from each other.
If you remember back to iOS 14 beta period, I would have the problem just sitting at the couch and the HomePod was on the side table, and it would just steal the audio or the phone call from my phone over a meter. But
okay,
thankfully that was fixed before iOS 14 went public, and yeah, to this day, my Qi charger is inches from my HomePod Maxi. Normal HomePod, and I very, very occasionally have it take the audio if I I don't know, just wave it too close to the HomePod as I'm putting it down on the charger, but not it's not frequent enough that I even bother moving the wireless charger more than a few inches away from the HomePod. So yeah,
I'd say it's surprisingly good for just using Bluetooth signal strength to determine proximity.
Right. Apple's getting pretty good at using Bluetooth signal strength for things, aren't they?
Just in time for them to have U1 and everything and not need it anymore.
It certainly seems like they could do all of this with the Bluetooth signal strength and not the U1.
Right.
Yeah. It's only the orientation aspect of it that seems to be any different. It knows when you're pointing the phone at something.
Right, yeah, exactly. It knows its distance, but not what direction it is away from something.
Yeah. Oh well, see what the future holds. iOS 14.5 is a little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest feature is the whole Apple Watch can unlock your iPhone if you're wearing a mask. And if there's like 5 if clauses, but if Face ID, this is what I think this is what Joanna Stern posted on Twitter. So if Face ID detects a mask, your Apple Watch is nearby on your wrist and unlocked. I guess if it's on your wrist, it would already be nearby, so that's kind of moot.
Mm-hmm.
And your Apple Watch is unlocked, and your Apple Watch has a passcode enabled, of course, and it's got wrist awareness turned on, of course. Then your Apple Watch will unlock your iPhone. Clear?
Clear as mud.
Oh.
I'm sure I think this is something we've talked about on the show before.
Really?
I think it's been like at least a year. About the same time that Unlock Your Mac with the Apple Watch came out. I know it's at least something that's been floating around in my mind is why can't your iPhone just also stay unlocked when it's next to your Apple Watch?
Because vice versa works.
It's nice because vice versa. Because your phone unlocks your watch.
Yeah.
Right. So you have both devices locked. You use Face ID to unlock your watch one time, and then from then on, as long as your watch remains on your wrist, it unlocks your phone. I don't think that necessarily makes a infinite loop.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's I think it's a really good workaround using their existing solutions without being able to go back and put Touch ID on all the phones. I think this will be a really great solution for getting around this mask problem, and it's enough to tempt me that I think I might install the beta profile again on my phone just so I can do this again, because grocery shopping right now is miserable having to type in my passcode every time I want to check my grocery list.
You don't use your watch for the grocery list?
I do occasionally. My problem is that maybe I need to change my watch settings. But so many times if I have my grocery list on my watch, when my watch goes to sleep, I look at it again, it's back on the home screen and not my grocery list. And I don't like that either.
That's annoying. I'm pretty sure you can change that setting, but I just find the grocery app, the reminders app on the watch is just so dog slow. Maybe it's just because I've got a slightly older watch now, but it has always been slow. And tapping on a reminder to mark it as complete is just an exercise in frustration. So yeah, I gave up on it. I tried using my watch for groceries. I really did, but gave up on it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, typing in a passcode every time I pull my phone out of my pocket has been very annoying the last year. And so this sounds amazing to me.
Do you think they should extend it? What if they extended it to not having to wear a mask? So currently you have to be wearing a mask, and Face ID sees that before it will resort to the Apple Watch authentication. Wouldn't it be nice if it would just do it anyway? Like, I don't know, maybe you woke up looking a little bit different. Maybe the wind changed yesterday and Face ID is having a bit of trouble. Maybe there's, I don't know, some fog over it because you had a shower. I think that'd be pretty nice. It might, like, though, that 5% of the time where Face ID doesn't work for you, but you're wearing a watch that was already authenticated to you. It just, it just takes up that 5% slack and makes everything a little bit nicer.
Yeah, I definitely have specific situations that Face ID doesn't work. Like, if I'm checking my phone when I'm laying in bed and like my hand is resting, or my face is resting on my hand and it won't scan my face, that'd be nice.
You could just set up an alternative appearance where one side of your face is squished against your hand. It's just how I look, man.
There you go. Yeah, I think it should always fall back to the watch. And we're so early in this beta, who knows? Maybe that'll end up being the case.
By the time it gets released, though, I don't think I'm going to be wearing a mask anymore, unfortunately. I did try and install the beta last night, but it's not a public beta yet, and I didn't really want to go down the dev beta route.
Could have just asked me for a profile.
Oh, man. Of course.
Dev account still.
What am I doing? Well, send me a profile after the show. Please.
Okay. Yeah, I can find the link for that.
There are a little shopping list of updates also in 14.5. Just to go through them. Joint Apple cards. So you and a significant other can share an Apple card.
Yeah, that's nice to catch up to with the rest of the credit card industry.
Yep. Still waiting to see any sort of announcement about Apple Card coming to Australia, but I'm not holding my breath on that, seeing as we still don't even have Apple Pay Cash.
Right.
Here's something that we brought up previously, but the AirPlay in Fitness Plus is not implemented or implemented poorly at the moment, but it's being improved. You'll be able to cast AirPlay from your phone to Apple TV.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Controller support for the new generation of consoles. Actually, in the Apple Store... Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm surprised that they need to add extra support. I guess the PlayStation and Xbox controllers are a little bit more than just basic Bluetooth controllers, and there's some unique features they need to support before they'll work.
I wonder if they would support all the crazy haptics that are going on the PlayStation controller.
Yeah, it's apparently got some unique feedback to it.
Yeah, and we know that Apple's great at haptics, so imagine them supporting that.
That'd be cool.
In the Apple Store the other day, I came across one of their SteelSeries controller that had a built-in iPhone holder. I didn't know that was a thing. Previously, many years ago, I was attaching one of those mini Gorilla Pods with the iPhone clip to my SteelSeries Nimbus controller. So,
okay,
it worked and it's good, but it is slightly annoying that you have to kind of adjust the legs sometimes as they lose grip or the iPhone's not angled perfectly or it gets bumped or whatever. But now the clip is built into the controller itself, and I had a little play. That's really cool.
Yeah, I've got one of those original SteelSeries Nimbuses sitting right next to me.
Nimbi?
Nimbi. I plugged into my iMac for Apple Arcade games for the kids.
Oh, nice. Yeah. They're a pretty good controller.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Global dual SIM 5G support on the iPhone 12 is coming in 14.5. I'm not really a dual SIM kind of person, but there you go.
Yeah, I didn't know it didn't have that. I'm surprised that it didn't already work with 5G for both your SIM cards, but good to have now, I guess.
The whole app tracking transparency feature. There's been a bit of news about that.
Mm-hmm. About time.
We'll leave that one alone. And lastly, an update to the podcasts app. It seems to be mostly a UI redesign, which looks pretty cool in the screenshots. I would have liked to use it so I could have some thoughts on it, but I haven't yet. But the screenshots I've seen have looked pretty nice. And I've actually kind of started using the built-in podcasts app recently over Overcast. I'm kind of torn between which one I should use. I do really like Overcast, but just having the one that's built in everywhere and syncs podcasts automatically to the watch when the watch is charging overnight, so that they're there if you just take the watch out in the morning. And the CarPlay app for podcasts is a bit nicer than the CarPlay Overcast app. So a few things pushing me towards that app at the moment over my beloved Overcast. So it's nice to see it get an update.
That's not the last feature. You forgot the most important one.
Did I?
Horizontal boot screens on iPads.
Sorry. That is actually definitely the biggest and best feature.
So tired of my iPad on the Magic Keyboard when I'm installing a software update or anything else and everything is sideways. And now it's going to be the right orientation.
Quality of life has just improved greatly, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss anything else?
I think that's the highlights from 14.5.
So Dan Riccio has begun a new chapter at Apple. He's been promoted to basically a secret project. Some people read this as he's on his way out of the company, but I didn't really read it like that. I read it as in he is working on a secret project, which we'll find about in a couple of years. What about you?
Man, I agree that this isn't just like backhand speak for, he's retiring, right? Because I kind of feel like that's what they did with Phil Schiller, where he's promoted, quote unquote, to Apple Fellow, but just means that he doesn't have any responsibilities anymore. This sounds like he still will be doing some work in the company, and they just can't say what it is. It seems weird to me that Apple even acknowledges that there's secret projects. Like, even that is a little far for them.
Yeah. Well, they didn't say it was secret. He's just transitioning to a new role, focusing on a new project.
Mm-hmm.
It could...
I,
yeah?
I think it's true, but do you think he's working on... Of the two most likely options, do you think he's working on AR or do you think he's working on the Apple Car?
I'm honestly not convinced that Apple Car is a thing, even today.
Well, you did not see today's latest news update on that then.
Oh no, what have I missed?
Let me go to Mac Rumors so I can get this guy's name right. Apple hires former Porsche chassis vice president for Apple Car project.
All right. So there is an Apple Car.
Manfred Harrer of Porsche is a Porsche executive, was just hired by Apple. I think the Apple Car is at least in development, whether or not it ever comes to existence. They're working on one.
Why are they making a car?
So this is my working theory. Because the company with this rumor, they're talking about that this Apple Car is going to be a high-end luxury product. And still potentially partnered with Hyundai to manufacture it, and it's going to be on their electric vehicle platform, which is, it's kind of just like a rolling chassis, just battery and wheels, and you can build your own body on top of it.
I can't get over the way that Americans pronounce Hyundai.
How do you pronounce it?
Hyundai.
That is not okay. It's not about Americans versus anyone else, though. That's the company name.
Bullshit. Let's go to Hyundai's YouTube channel and see how they pronounce Hyundai.
Okay, do it.
Yeah, I am.
While you're doing that, I'm going to tell you my theory.
All right.
So I think Apple's going to build a chassis on top of Hyundai's platform, and it's going to be a premium, high-end luxury vehicle, and it's going to run all Apple smart software and things like that.
Okay.
But I think they're going to take the same software from that car and lease it, or in some other terms, to Hyundai to run on their other cars. So you can get like not an Apple car with a luxury design, but you can get a Hyundai running Apple software, right? And that's how they'll cater to those more mid-range or lower-end car buying segments.
Mm. See, if I go to the Hyundai Australia YouTube channel, they're probably going to say Hyundai.
Where are they based out of?
Korea, aren't they?
I have no idea. I know they manufacture cars in the U.S., but that pretty much guarantees they're not a U.S. company, because any U.S. company is outsourced.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're South Korean.
Okay. So if I just Google pronunciation, what am I going to hear?
Oh, here we go. I found a Korean pronunciation of it.
Okay.
It says Hyundai. Says Hyundai. There you go, David.
Okay, so if you go to Google Translate, or not, just the Google website, and you Google Hyundai pronunciation, I'm given an American option, which is Hyundai. There's a British pronunciation option, which apparently the British pronounce it Hyundai.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad.
Hyundai?
Hyundai. 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 Look, if we really want to settle this, you have to go to the Korean pronunciation. There's no choice.
Okay, and what do the Koreans say?
Hyundai.
Hyundai.
That's my best Korean. I think it's Korean.
Okay. So, back to Dan. Dan Riccio, as I've always pronounced it in my head. But you said Riccio?
I said Riccio.
Riccio.
Because...
I don't know that I've actually ever heard his last name pronounced out loud. But I've always read it as Riccio.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, think of cappuccino. That's CCINO. Yes.
That's true. I went to someone with this last name, though, and he pronounced it Riccio.
Dan Riccio pronounced it Riccio?
Well, it wasn't Dan Riccio, but I went to someone with the last name Riccio, and that's how they pronounced it.
Ah, okay.
So, but that, families could pronounce that differently. I don't know.
Well, if you think of the Australian Formula One driver whose name is Ricciardo, his family, who lives in Perth, actually pronounces it Ricciardo. So I think it just depends if the family wants to sort of anglicize it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So, well, Dan, he's been leading the hardware engineering at Apple for 23 years. So he's overseen a lot of highs and lows in terms of Apple's hardware design. But I'd say mostly highs. I think that he's got an awesome track record. So it doesn't surprise me that he's being moved to lead some new, potentially flagship product for them.
Mm-hmm. Someone in the comments noted that it was 2 years before the Apple Watch came out that Bob Mansfield was moved on to a secret project, and it turned out to be the Apple Watch. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. Bob had an interesting journey. I don't know exactly what the timelines were like, but there was like a point where he was retired, and it's like, surprise, he's back, and then like, no, he's really retired this time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that sounds about right. So
we could be in for like a 2-year wait before we see exactly what Dan R is working on.
Well, if that's the case, I hope he's working on car stuff, because I really want to see some Apple Glass in like the next year or so.
That's what rumors have been telling us.
I know. Yeah, people have been saying stuff as soon as this year, potentially.
John Turnus is coming in to fill the vacancy left by Dan R. John Turnus, with the exceptionally pronounceable name, has been fairly prominent in recent presentations made by Apple. And he seems to be...
Yeah, I've seen a lot more of him than Dan.
The guy behind Apple Silicon, you might frame him as in the recent year.
Yeah. I think John is gonna be great. Seems to have everything he touches turns to gold.
John Midas Turnus really rolls off the tongue. He's also quite a talented speaker, I think, as well. He's very natural. He's one of the least awkward presenters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. He's no Eddie Q.
Eddie Q. So he's on the board of Ferrari.
Eddie seems to have a lot of interest outside Apple in the way that the other executive leadership's teams don't.
The last time I saw Eddie Q make an appearance, it was in like the pit garage of Ferrari during a Formula One race. Like nothing to do with Apple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he hasn't been in a keynote in years.
He's a bit of a loose unit. Hard not to like him, though.
Yeah, he's one of the last remaining people from the Steve Jobs era, too.
But John Turnus has been there since then, hasn't he? He joined Apple's product design team in 2001. Are you talking 90s, right, late 90s?
In executive positions.
Okay.
I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Most of Steve Jobs' executive team has moved on at this point.
That's true. Anything else on that topic?
No, I don't think so.
Actually, I got one other thing. The portrait photo of Dan R at the top of the Apple Newsroom article is just an exceptional photograph, I think. It's just like, it's perfect. It's nice and sharp. The colors are great. The skin tones are on point. Anyway.
Do you think it was taken with an iPhone?
I don't think it was taken with an iPhone. No. Last bit of big news for the fortnight is that iCloud password Chrome Windows extension is now available. It's a bit of a mouthful, but you can add an extension to Chrome that lets you get your iCloud passwords in Chrome autofilled. Well, you could because it's been pulled already. But that was a short-lived feature, which I guess will come back in a week or two whenever they iron out whichever bug caused them to pull it.
Mm-hmm. This was exciting news for me because it's just the missing piece in terms of getting me to the point of removing my dependency on 1Password. Because so much of my work is done cross-platform, I've needed a cross-platform password manager. And up until this point, Apple's iCloud passwords just haven't been an option for me. So I was really excited about this. but I use the Edge browser on Windows, which runs Chromium under the hood and can run Chrome plugins. So I was able to install the iCloud Chrome plugin, but it didn't work for me at all. It kept saying that I didn't have the iCloud Manager program installed on my computer, which I did. So hopefully that's the bug that they're fixing. But I assumed it was just because I was trying to run it in Edge and not Chrome.
That would be my guess. That doesn't seem like a bug you would pull it, someone running it in a browser that they don't really say supported.
Right. So I might still have to wait a while before I can ditch 1Password, or at least a step closer.
I've been all on board the iCloud keychain password manager, whatever it's called, since day one, and I'm a huge fan. It's absolutely saved my bacon and made my password life really easy, but it's been really hard to recommend for a lot of people who, use Windows, obviously, because they just can't use it. It's unrecommendable. So at least I guess I can start pushing it on to friends and family who don't use password managers and should. Everyone should use a password manager, and so few people do. I like iCloud key. What's it called? Password manager keychain. I need a name for it.
I think it's either.
What does Apple call it? I don't know. Oh, let's go with iCloud passwords. I forgot what I was going to say though.
You're going to tell me why you liked it so much.
Oh, because it's just there. You don't have to go and install some program on your computer or an app on your phone or iPad or whatever, and then maintain an account, and then maybe you have to pay a subscription for it. Who knows? And have yet another service. It's just there. It's built in. It works pretty well. It's not always perfect, but it works as well as you could hope, considering the billions of different implementations of password boxes on all the websites in the entire globe. I think it works pretty well, considering.
Right. And things like third-party password managers have gotten better over the years, where you can choose them to autocomplete your password in the text box, but they still don't compete with how nice it is for the iCloud keychain to, when you're creating a new account, it just auto-generates a random password for you, inserts it. You can't get third-party one to do that on your phone or a tablet or whatever.
Right.
And that's the one feature that I really would like to take advantage of, because currently I have to say I'm going to type in my own, and I have to open my password manager and have it generate something and then copy and paste it in, and it's much more frustrating.
Was there not a feature in iOS 14 that let password managers actually offer that, though?
Well, it lets them offer the auto-completing if you already have an account.
But not creation.
You can choose 1Password to insert. But yeah, I haven't been able to get it work for creation.
The other day, I had iCloud put in a new password, and I was creating an account for something, and then I hit save or OK or whatever, and got the red text that said can't. It has to be password has to be more than 8 characters, and I thought, well, iCloud would never put in a password that was less than 8 characters, so I tried a couple more times, and then I read the red text a little closer, and it said password can't be more than 8 characters. Face palmed so hard that this service wasn't letting me put in a password more than 8 characters. Yeah.
What a ridiculous limitation.
I know. Truly terrible.
Because to me that means that I don't know what that means, because if they're doing even the bare minimum amount of security on your password and they're hashing it before they store it in the database, it's already dozens and dozens of characters after it's being hashed. And so if they're not hashing it, that means they have plain text passwords in their database.
It's plain text. It's got to be when they've got that stupid limitation on there.
All right. Well, it sounds like you shouldn't be doing business with these people.
I wish I could remember which service it was so I could just dob them in. But I can't, unfortunately.
I also discovered a pretty big security vulnerability the other day. This has to do with my credit union's website. So first of all, this is a very small credit union. It's only for, I don't want to be too specific because people know generally where I live, and I don't want to reveal this. It's only for federal employees that work for a specific part of the government. And my grandfather did, and up to your grandchildren are allowed to use this credit union. And they have incredible interest rates, like way above and like 1% interest rates on accounts versus like 0.001 or whatever at a regular bank. So I like to keep my money there when I can because it's so much more interest. Anyway, but it's very, very small. It's like my account number is in the hundreds. So what I discovered the other day is when you sign into this account, you have a GUID associated with your account number, and the way you access your account information is just a query string on the URL. So if you know your GUID or anyone's GUID, you can put it in the URL and view their bank account information, as well as their address and past statements, and you can request withdrawals in the form of like checks being mailed to your address.
That's pretty bad, but a GUID can take like hundreds of years to guess. And if there are only a couple of hundred users of this credit union, like what are the odds that you would stumble across someone else's?
Right, you wouldn't guess it, but you're in the position where you could easily be social engineered out of it. Mm-hmm. If you were a tech support and you're like, all right, go navigate to this in your bank account. It's like, all right, now just tell me what the URL is here. And then suddenly you have it,
That angle is very vulnerable.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's not a lot you can do because even the withdrawal, you can only request them send a check to the address on the account. So you can't just straight up steal people's money, but you can see all their banking history if you wanted to. So not great.
Definitely not great. So what's your GUID?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I'd love to. Gonna buy myself some HomePod minis on your dime.
There you go.
I am James VDM on Reddit and on Twitter.
And I'm Jellywoot on Reddit and Twitter.
And you can find the show notes at reddit.com/r/the_Apple_show.
So I got a new TV.
You've actually got it. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know what the straw that broke the back was. I've been looking at TVs for years because mine was so out of date.
It was 720p,
40-some inches. Yeah, it was 40-some inches, 720p plasma television that I got for free like 6 years ago, and I've just carried it with me everywhere I've went.
Damn! Wow, you must have like strong arms.
It is a very heavy TV. Anyway, so I got a 65-inch 4K Samsung TV. It's not a super fancy like $2,000 one. It's like whatever their consumer low-end $500 TV was.
Okay. Yep.
But still a huge upgrade for me over what I've been watching TV on. And I've been looking for excuses to sit in front of the TV.
Samsung's not like a budget brand, so even their low-end models are pretty good.
Yeah. I did a little bit of research about what like real TV fans are saying, like, oh, you got to get HDMI 2.1 because you need to be able to support these like the latest 8K 60 hertz consoles or whatever that are coming out. And I was just at the point where the TV I was on was so old, like even the cheapest TV I could go out and buy was still going to be a huge upgrade for me. So I didn't worry too much about future proofing or getting whatever the must have features were.
Yep.
But now I do kind of want to get into it a bit because I've seen people with like nice home theater setups where they've got there's some like interface box you can put between like your console or your Apple TV and the television itself that then like you can put an array of lights behind the TV and it lights up the wall behind the TV the same color as the screen, so it kind of looks like the screen is bigger than it is. Have you seen those?
I have seen, yeah. Some TVs even have like built-in backlights to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've seen some demos of it and it looks really cool. But I haven't figured out what the best way to go with that is.
It's supposed to improve the contrast of the screen as well.
Yeah. Yeah, my impulse was to go with Hue's version because I've already got a bunch of Hue bulbs. Mm-hmm. And I've got the Hue app and it works with HomeKit. but it's all wireless. Like you put a sync box in that plugs into the Apple TV, and then it sends something to the Hue app about this is the color on this side of the TV and this is the color over here. And then it sends a signal back to all your Hue bulbs wirelessly in the room and it lights them up. And that seems like you couldn't do that without latency when you're watching a movie or something. I'd rather find something that's just like direct in line and has lights that go behind the TV to work. But I don't know what that solution's going to be yet.
There's not going to be heaps of latency, though, because if you think about just like your Hue light switches and your Hue lights, it's almost instantaneous. You press it on, the lights go on.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I just need to do some more research, but I think that's going to be my next big purchase. That, and I need the HomePods to go on sale at Best Buy again so I can do stereo audio with the HomePods.
Surely you've got enough HomePods kicking around that you can just salvage some from, like, I don't know, one from under the bed and the other from on top of the fridge and just make a stereo pair out of those two.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the one propping up like the bed, but what do I use as a bed leg if I didn't have the HomePod under there?
True.
So.
Oh, God. Sounds like you're going headfirst into a whole new world of, I don't know, what do you call that world? AV geek?
I guess it's not me very much. Like I didn't watch my TV at all before this, and that's why it took me so long to even bother to upgrade it. But now that I get in these rabbit holes where it's like, well, now that I've spent some money, I need to go all in, and maximize my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to figure out what the best solution is for that.
Can you have Dolby Atmos with HomePod pair?
Yeah, I would think that they have Atmos support, but I don't know for sure that that's actually the case and not just what I'm assuming.
Apparently, according to The Verge, Apple's HomePod will soon support Dolby Atmos, and that was October. Oh, the October just gone. Okay,
so if they do support it, they only just did.
But not on the Mini.
That's fair. Have you been following everything going on in the stock market?
Not by choice, but just because every single thing I listen to has mentioned it, including you now.
Sorry to drag you into this.
Did you?
This is supposed to be your safe haven.
Yeah. I'm only marginally interested in it, but do you want to talk about it?
Only
Not
to the extent that I can brag.
That you can what? Brag?
That they can brag about it.
Okay, tell me.
A little
that
bit.
I'm interested in hearing about.
So I didn't buy into GameStop at all. But soon after, the GameStop shares were skyrocketing in price. There was some whispers in the cryptocurrency community that they wanted to do something similar, and Reddit, being the joke of a website it is, decided that they wanted to do that with Dogecoin, which is the cryptocurrency that only exists as a joke and has almost no inherent value whatsoever. Like up until a few days ago, it was only ever worth like half a cent per coin, and it's got no cap on it. So there's infinite Dogecoins being mined, and so even if you can give it some value, it's always inflating, and so it's not a long-term cryptocurrency. There's no value. It's a joke.
Okay, this is hilarious so far.
But Reddit decided they we need to do this with Dogecoin because it's the meme cryptocurrency, and I own a few of every cryptocurrency just on the off chance they become the next Bitcoin and they're worth $30,000 a coin. It'd be nice to have a few of them.
Yeah.
And so you buy in when they're cheap. And so I had a few Dogecoin. And I noticed that suddenly the value of my Dogecoin was going up a bunch after being worth nothing for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some quick Googling, what's going on with Dogecoin? And I saw that, man, everyone's talking about this GameStop thing where everyone, the price was skyrocketing. Now everyone's doing it with Dogecoin. And so because I was so early on in this and the price was still basically zero, I took $1,000 and I bought Dogecoin.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
So this was just right before going to bed. So I bought a Dogecoin, and then the next day, Elon Musk tweeted about it, Dogecoin, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I don't know how she's one of our congresswomen. Was talking about it in a live stream on Twitch. And between that and the Reddit community making a joke about it, the valuation of Dogecoin went from less than a cent per coin to like 8 or 9 cents per coin. So like 10x'd the value of Dogecoin.
No way.
Yeah. Which was really exciting. And I was like, this is crazy. This is going to become worth, I don't know what it was going to become worth. And so I was greedy or too optimistic about it, and I stayed in Dogecoin, and then the internet got bored of it and stopped buying it, and the value went down. I sold at like the halfway point. I still ended up like 5xing my initial investment.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which was it's crazy that just like jokes like that on the internet can result in making that kind of money in a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it was fun to be part of for the 2 days people cared about Dogecoin. Now it's worth, I think it's actually still like leveled out around 2 or 3 cents, which is a lot higher than it was, but still basically worthless.
It looks like 3 cents according to my quick lookup.
Yeah. So.
Wow, you had a great week then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically just gambled and won.
Yeah.
So it's funny what the stock market does to your mind, though. I don't get into it very much, but it's like I walked away like making like $4,000, but I feel like I lost money because I saw the value of my coin go up to like 10 grand.
You had 10,000. No, you don't. You lost.
I got greedy, James.
Can't blame you though, because what if it gone up to like $1? You'd be just rolling in it. Oh
man, if it went up to $1, I had 100,000 Dogecoins. That's enough money to like. I would pay off my student loans. I'd pay off my car, and I'd buy a house, right? And then probably have a little bit left to put in savings. But that would make it so like all the financial whatever burdens or debts I had were gone. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, be dreaming.
So anyway, still fun. Gambling is fun, is what I'm saying.
It is.
Gamble, children.
It definitely is. But don't do it, but it is. I also traded 350 Australian dollars for one Doge since we last spoke.
What?
I got a dog.
Oh.
Yes.
I was going to say, you got ripped off.
I certainly would have. But no, I didn't. I have a lovely new companion in the house. A retired racing greyhound called Brady, who just sleeps for most of the day and occasionally comes and shows us affection.
Awesome. A retired racing dog.
Greyhound racing is illegal in the US, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know if it's illegal or not. There used to be a dog racing track just down the street from me, but it closed down a long time ago.
Okay.
And I guess it could have been because it was illegal. Let me look.
I just quickly looked it up. The first is an article about it, which suggests it's still fine, but then the second article is greyhound racing in the US is coming to an end, and that was only last year, September. So
there's only 4 states in the US that greyhound racing is legal, and mine is one of them.
Okay, there you go. So it's for most intents and purposes illegal.
Mm-hmm. What about in Australia?
I think it's banned in a few states, but obviously not mine.
Well, I didn't know if it retired because it became illegal or how.
Oh, no, just got too old, An old 5-year-old dog can't race anymore.
Right.
And that's actually, I think, even further than most of them would go. I think they usually retire like 3 or 4.
So being a previous race dog, does that mean that they're full of energy, or is it the opposite? They're just worn out and wanting to rest now.
He wants to rest all the time, but I don't think that's a factor of previously having been a racing dog. It's just a factor of being a greyhound. They just built to expend all their energy very quickly and then be very lazy for all the in-between time.
Right.
Like, even a 15-minute walk is pretty much his limit at the moment, and I don't think it would really get much higher than that. But he can also run 60 k's an hour. So
you'll never catch him if he runs away.
No. You're actually not allowed off the leash unless you're in an enclosed area by law, because they will run and they will hurt something or themselves.
Huh. Well, that's nice.
That's nice.
I grew up with dogs, and I want to get one for the kids, especially now that working from home all the time. Like previously, I was worried about leaving a dog home, but that's just not an issue anymore. So
right.
Now's the best time to invest in family pets.
Yeah, we were just waiting for Paul to get, less than shakeable in jaw size. Basically.
Okay.
They're just, dogs are great for kids.